The Empire Strikes Back. The Star Wars saga continues.
The rebels are there, and I'm sure Skywalker is with them. He will join us or die.
It is a dark time for the rebellion. Although the Death Star has been destroyed, Imperial troops have driven the rebel forces from their hidden base and pursued them across the galaxy. Evading the dreaded Imperial Starfleet, a group of freedom fighters led by Luke Skywalker has established a new secret base on the remote ice world of Hoth. The evil Lord Darth Vader, obsessed with finding young Skywalker, has dispatched thousands of remote probes into the far reaches of space.
Led by Luke Skywalker? Are we sure about that?
Yeah, it says led by Luke Skywalker. I know that, but Luke Skywalker doesn't really do a lot of the leading except for Rogue Squadron.
He doesn't even seem like a leader at Hoth.
I did see and think about that, but then I'm like, all right, Luke's the main character.
They don't even care about him when he's gone. They're just like,
it's been
close the doors. Like he never shows up at the rendezvous point, and they're never like,
oh, my friend's
where's
out
Luke
there.
at?
Yeah, my friend's out there with him. I don't know. It's been 3 years since A New Hope. Luke's taken much more of a leadership role at the time.
He's attacking me through the Force.
His
the lightsaber just fell down.
That's where it went. Actually, it went down the shaft into
Maz Kanata's couch.
Oh no, we don't.
Micah.
Come on, we're talking about Empire here. We're talking about Empire, not Force Awakens. It's a good question, but for another time, all right? But yes, we're here to talk about The Empire Strikes Back. That is your plot synopsis. That is also your title crawl for the 5th movie.
Kanata.
I could not imagine what people were thinking in the theaters when they go from Star Wars to the opening title crawl being Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back.
We're like, what are those?
Come on, you missed 3 episodes before getting to this part.
Like, wait a second.
I mean, I didn't.
The real In Tune fans would have.
Did it
known
not
what
have
was
it
up.
for your theatrical release?
No, it said Episode 5.
Right, it said it for you
Right.
because you watched it.
But personally, I didn't even notice. I don't know. I forgot to pay attention to it. Maybe people in the theater were just like, cool.
Yeah, who would pay attention to the
There's
opening
no
crawl
way.
in Star
No,
Wars?
like I wasn't paying attention to the number. I was just like,
You were on TikTok.
I don't know.
Oh yeah, I guess this is just the opening crawl. It's a dark time for the rebellion.
Especially if you don't know Roman numerals. Like,
True.
did people back then even know Roman
Episode
numerals?
V.
What Super Bowl were they at? 2? Like, at that
They
point,
know
it's still the
Roman
number. Like,
numerals.
it's still just 1 and 2.
Like episode V. What is that?
This is 1980. They were
Episode V,
well
an
into
interesting
Super
name.
Bowls.
They wrote half of a Sideways too. Like
I
come
did
on.
notice that it's called The Empire Strikes Back in a lot of places. It's not called Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back. Kind of like how Star Wars
It's called
episode
Star
4
Wars.
is called
Right,
Star
yeah.
Wars in a lot of places.
That is true.
I refer to this one exclusively as Empire when I talk about it.
Right.
Yeah.
ESB.
There's a lot. Return Empire. Right. There's a lot of nicknames you could have for it. But gentlemen, let's get into this. Let's dive into this. And I'm really excited because we talked about A New Hope before, Ethan. And now we're talking about the next. I mean, I'm so
Yes.
excited to talk about each and every one of these films for different reasons. But this one in particular, man, it's got a lot of good stuff in it.
First new content of the year.
Yeah, you could say.
Ben showing his hand early.
I mean, come
Yeah,
on.
maybe.
We're not playing coy here, but I'm going to go with Mr. Ethan Wentzlaw first here. I know your experience with A New Hope, but what's your experience with Empire?
Empire, I grew up watching this one also. I would say, though, out of the original 3, growing up when I was a kid, this was my least rewatched, thus making it my least favorite. Just because I think from a childhood standpoint, A New Hope and especially Return of the Jedi offer a lot more from like a small kid enjoyment standpoint. There's a lot more fun to be had there, but I still really love this one. You know, you got Hoth, Dagobah, Cloud City, like a lot of really cool iconic locations and cool iconic characters that you meet. So yeah, I mean, I love this one just as much as I love the other 3. We'll talk about how we go through, but for this time watching, I watched my 2013 Blu-ray, and unfortunately, it was alone.
Marcus didn't join you?
So I came home, and the night I was planning on watching it, my dad and my brother Marcus were halfway through Empire.
Oh, so they did see it though.
They did watch it this week. I just
Wait for you.
the timing didn't work out to where I could watch it with them. I was too busy prepping for a
But you
sermon.
watched the Blu-ray instead of the
I did.
Disney Plus.
Yeah, I'm like, I own the Blu-rays. I got it.
Yeah.
I might as well watch them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And your experience this time, because you said as a kid, this was your least favorite one, even though you watched it a billion times. This time around, what did you think?
What did I think? I think that this movie is great. Like, what
Just great, or
what? No, like, what do you mean just great? What word you want me to pick other than great, Micah?
All right, you're
Ben, look up some
worshipful now.
words. Fantastic.
Hang on.
No, I love the right away from the opening crawl. We just read it. It's a dark time for the rebellion, and you, instead of Tatooine, you have a cold ice planet that is Hoth. Instead of starting off with R2D2 and C3PO, you start off with the probe droid. Like, it's very Empire centric, and I love the Empire. I love seeing, just especially in this movie, the way they hunt down everywhere that our rebels turn. The Empire is there. Even when Han Solo does the most perfect maneuver ever, Boba Fett. Boba Fett is there to thwart his plans, which is why I got my Boba Fett onesie on today.
dang.
Let's
Showing
go.
up
But
more
no,
prepared than us.
That's the guy
for
from
sure.
the holiday special.
it's the guy from the holiday special.
That's
Yeah.
what people said when they
No
went into the
way.
theaters in 1980.
But no, really love this movie. I'm really excited to dive into all the nitty gritty of it and in the end compare it to A New Hope.
Okay, all right. Well, Mr. Head, I'm wondering, how did you watch this film? Because you saw the 4K
wanna-
77
Well, I
last
was
year.
Do we
talking
want to
about
give him a time limit here?
I'll talk about I talked about that a lot in the A New Hope podcast, so check that out. But I want to start with growing up. Similar to Ethan, Empire Strikes Back was one of the least played ones in my house, just because, I mean, it doesn't have as much guns and stuff and lightsaber and coolness as the first one or the prequels, and then Return of the Jedi's got the cool Jabba's barge thing right at the beginning. There's nothing like right at the beginning
And
that's super
Endor,
cool
the
other than
Ewoks,
running
yeah.
away and the speeders, right? So there's some cool stuff on Hoth, but for a kid, it's not really shown on screen. It's just like there's tension, but a kid not paying attention wouldn't really care about the tension.
Right.
But watching it this time, I watched the Project 4K 80 Beta 5. They just released the alpha, but the official release is coming soon. This is where they scan the original theatrical film reels. That's all I'll say about it. I mean, if you want to hear more, check it out.
There's
Look
a
it
lot
up.
more you could.
Yeah,
Yep.
look it up online, but they're almost done with Project 4K 80. I'm excited to see it. 4K 83 is done. So I'll be watching that.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah, so I watched that. It's the original theatrical release. Not many changes in this from the theaters through the special editions. There are a couple that are actually, I think some of the best changes in Star Wars are in Empire Strikes Back. I don't
Talking George Lucas special
yeah,
edition.
yeah. Some of the special editions, some of the future releases they swapped out the matte paintings. Some of them, the beautiful matte paintings for CGI, which in some ways is better, but in other ways it helps to revitalize the film and make it just look better for longer. But overall, this watch, I was able to notice just how much more mature the writing is compared to A New Hope. We just watched A New Hope last
Yes.
week, and there were a lot of immature choices in the dialogue where it was just like Luke rambling on and Obi-Wan just dumping stuff, which was cool. I liked some of those parts, but I disliked some of the other parts. And I think in this, they focus more on the romance. They focus more on the drama of the action. Like, why is this happening? It's not just like, oh, there they are. It's the rebels. Get them. It's like, why are they invading? Why is Darth Vader pursuing Skywalker? Why is, we get to this breakdown of Darth Vader and we get to see more about him and how just evil he is. We didn't see that as much in A New Hope. He chokes the dude and that's about it. But you see his nonstop pursuance of Luke Skywalker. You see the Empire in its full force. You see that huge,
Dude.
what's the huge,
the Executor.
the Executor.
Vader's flagship.
That's sick. Where did it come from? That's what I want to know. Where did all these dudes come from? If they all blew up in the Death Star, like,
Well, I mean, the Empire's that the Empire's project of the Death Star was made in secret.
Yeah.
A lot of its resources were pooled there, but you wouldn't know it because the Empire was still such a force to be reckoned with.
Force,
it even says in the title crawl, right? It's right there. I mean, even though the Death Star is destroyed, the Empire's still on a mad rampage.
Very mad too, like emphasis on mad.
So
coming from the Vader standpoint.
So yeah, Empire, I think, is a very great movie if you don't think about it too much. I think that this one has a lot of plot holes.
Really?
A lot of things that don't really add up for me. I mean, it's not giving me any, it's not taking away any points.
Maybe I can clear some up for you, Micah.
Yeah.
If you have some, I'm hoping I can clear some up.
The biggest one for me is, where did the Empire get this huge fleet if it's not mentioned in A New Hope? Why is, there's the whole Darth Vader twist, which is awesome.
So Yoda's not mentioned in A New Hope.
Not mentioned.
Where did he come from?
Yeah,
So is that like
overarching plot holes?
No. I'm saying, like, just because they build and expand the world doesn't mean that it wasn't there.
Yeah. But still, there was references to that you could point back to the prequels, but it's not. I'm not gonna fault them for that. I'm not gonna. So I don't know. I feel like people have touched on that stuff before, and I'm not gonna jump into it a ton here, but
I don't know. I feel like you're reaching with the plot hole element.
It is a reach. It is a reach. I don't want to focus on it too much. That's why I'm backing off on it, because I don't feel like it's as strong as.
I do want to add that this is going back to just childhood element of this movie. Something that I would, just to circle back to the beginning, but whenever it would snow, I would always grab my plastic lightsaber.
Yeah,
the one much like the one that's sitting behind me. And I would trek through the snow and I would pretend like I was Luke on Hoth. So that was a big part of, even to this day when I'm trekking through snow, I can't help but think of Luke walking through Hoth.
But yeah, Empire does a lot for Star Wars. It incorporates a lot of new things. And this is the first one with Force telekinesis or whatever, where you can move things.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of great things in Empire. But the question I want to ask today is this the greatest Star Wars movie that everyone says? Is it the best one? Is it the best one? Everyone says it's the best one. I would argue that because it loses a bit of the mysticism of the Force, it loses a bit of the groundwork that Star Wars Episode 4 laid, and takes a new direction with it, which I like as a movie. But I think that Empire is the start of the argument of, this is a great movie, but is it a great Star Wars movie? Did it redefine what Star Wars should be?
Really?
Yes.
No.
Does it redefine the way that Star Wars should be from the beginning? Is this a sequel that makes a different argument for what Star Wars should be off the bat?
It's cool you bring this up, because while this is much love now, right when this was released, it was met with very mixed reviews. And George Lucas himself even issued an apology for this movie and where characters went. But
based on Episode 4, this movie is nothing like it. Like it is completely different.
It is,
and in a good way. Like, this isn't. If they kept going with the same tone and feel of the first one, I feel like it would have overstayed its welcome. It had to do what Empire did, and it's for the better. I think it was for the better. But is it a better Star Wars movie? I don't know. It's interesting to me.
Very mixed signal.
But I like it.
It's bad. Oh, it's better.
No.
You'll expand on it. No,
that's about all I gotta say.
I'll give the floor to Ben.
But I like that.
Yeah.
I very much like that,
because people say that about the sequels all the time.
So as a kid, this was actually my favorite one before I got super into the Clone Wars. Before the Clone Wars came out, I would rewatch the Battle on Hoth countless times. That was one of my favorite scenes just because of that. And one of the things that I noticed watching it now is that it's probably like the worst battle ever. Like,
it's so boring.
It's so bad. Like, if you discount the Snowspeeder versus the AT-AT Walker, what are the rebels shooting at?
They're running away.
They're running away, and they all sit down in bunkers, and they're firing their blasters against an AT-AT 4 or 5 of them that are way off in the distance. There's no snow troopers on the ground that would have made this probably a much more interesting ground assault battle. It's just 4 walkers versus rebels entrenched.
Yeah.
And I'm almost mad that I'm noticing that now, because it makes it a lot less cooler in my mind.
They're just so desperate, you know. They're gonna do whatever they can. Every available man's gonna. You can't be in a ship. All right, just shoot lasers at a massive tank from miles away.
So like they have some proper equipment. They've got some Gatling guns, but I don't know.
But that when the AT-AT or AT as George Lucas calls it, when it shoots the snow speeder out of there, like, you know, when it tilts and I love that shot.
Oh no,
the snow speeders and AT-ATs are amazing.
Yeah.
It's just
that is one of only 2 issues that I have with this excellent.
Every time my
Star
dad
Wars
watches
film.
it, he's always like, "What a stupid design for the tanks," you know, like the 30-foot tall legs. Like, well,
why would you have them on
How do you
legs?
take this down? Oh, just a cable.
Right.
There you go. Yeah, like they look super cool, but they're pretty impractical. And you see, even when they get the chance to redo them in Clone Wars, they're like, you know what, let's make the legs like a foot tall.
Star Wars is famous for having it be style over practicality in many instances. Like if it looks cool, that may outrule whether or not it like makes feasible sense.
You know, let it happen. Yeah.
And speaking of style, this movie looks amazing. I love the colors. I love the cinematography. They actually move the camera around, so that there will be shots where they move to just create this dynamic frame. It's awesome. I love it. What the scene that really stuck out to me was when R2's doing his little satellite thing, and it just like they move the camera back, and it just changes everything. I don't know. I just love it. And then we could talk about the iconic scene on Bespin where Darth Vader and Luke are fighting, and it's like all dark, and you got the lightsabers, and you got the red floor and the blue sky, and
like, I don't know, say
amazing.
Like, so the say what you want about the choreography later and how excellent or non-excellent it is, whatever. But
later,
like,
as in
I think
prequels,
specifically this movie and Return, the final battles, the way the final lightsaber battles, the way they're shot, are just perfection. Like I love the dark lighting and the way that the lightsabers glow. Well, it just looks beautiful.
They don't really use the glow of the lightsabers in a future movie. Like they don't have a dark battle until there's some show parts.
I will say this: this is gonna a positive thing coming from my mouth about the sequel films. The lighting in the forest snow battle between Kylo Ren and Rey.
Force Awakens.
The lighting in that fight is amazing. That's gonna be
such a fun movie to revisit that one.
Yes, well, it's gonna be fun to revisit all of the sequel films in general, but
and all the Star Wars films,
all of them. Yes, but one of the things that I think is so impressive here, and I don't think A New Hope or even Return of the Jedi allow for, is that it allows characters time to really breathe and really become there. I mean, how much time are you spending on Hoth just with Han and Chewie trying to fix the Falcon?
Yeah.
Or as they call it in this film, and something that I've recently realized, the Falcon. The Falcon. It's not the Falcon, it's the Falcon.
Han and Chewie are working on the Falcon.
Yeah, right. Han's another one. But so many moments they're allowed to just breathe, and there's a lot of character conflict, but the beginning of this movie has so much, you can tell a lot of time has passed in between, and their friendships are much deeper and much more well-rooted out. And even especially this time going and watching it, I was so enraptured immediately from the start. I wanted to know everything about Luke, about Han, about Leia, where they've been at, and every interaction they have, especially Han and Leia, it's electric, man. You don't see this with anything in Star Wars anymore. And a lot of that is due to the dialogue here, because say what you want about George Lucas's dialogue, but this is probably the film where he has the least input when it comes to dialogue. This was the script was wrote out. George Lucas threw it out there because sadly Lee Brackett had passed, and he sent it off to Lawrence Kasdan, who really, really revised it, made it a little more accessible, and you can tell this is the best Star Wars dialogue, has been and probably ever will be. I'm not gonna lie.
Till episode 2.
Till episode 2. The writing in this is unparalleled. It's so good. And the chemistry between Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher is off the charts.
I love how the dialogue doesn't feel like Star Wars. I mean, I just love how they make these characters so much deeper by giving them these little things to say, like the your worshipfulness bit. I love that. And how C-3PO and R2 kind of take a bit more of a backseat in this movie. They're not the only comedic thing. They give comedy lines to the more serious characters like Han and Luke and Yoda.
Well, even like it's not funny by any means, but the way Vader just in certain scenes, the way he displays himself and like the way he just is murking dudes.
Yeah.
Like that comes off pretty comical. Not like in a dark way, but even that scene when he's talking to the
dark
guys
side.
And he does the full 360 and the guy standing right in front of him, like a foot away. It's like, go do this.
That scene is amazing. He just tells him what to do, looks at him, walks away. Admiral Ozzel looks at Admiral Pitt, and they're like, why did you say that? And then he walks away, and then Admiral Pitt looks at him, and then he walks away, and they just keep like looking at each other. And I love that scene. The Empire in this movie, I like that you point that out, is it's so good. It's so good. It's perfect. It is perfect. Darth Vader is the most intimidating. I said, Sam, last week she said, why? Darth Vader, he's not that intimidating. She quickly retracted her statement this week.
This is the movie.
Oh, without a doubt.
Bro, just murking dudes like left and right. Apology accepting, Captain Nida. He's like
Even scenes before where he's sitting there, he's like, I will apologize to Lord Vader personally. Prepare my shuttle. And you just know as you're like, yeah, he's dead.
You're like, oh, sorry, bro.
Obviously this dude hasn't seen the movie, so
Rest
it's like...
in peace. And as cool and intimidating as Vader is, you start to peel back the layers ever so slightly. If you're watching this for the first time, you get moments to where it's like, okay, there's more to Vader. Obviously, before he reveals the super big spoiler that happens, the scene where...
What's that? What's the spoiler?
Yeah, well, we'll get to it. But when General Veers comes to... Darth
you
Vader.
guys know General Veers, yeah.
And
you don't know the spoiler,
it's
but
the same guy
General Veers
who played. He plays the same character in Indiana Jones 3: The Last Crusade. He's the main Nazi bad guy, General Veers. They have same actor, but he goes in and Darth Vader's got his helmet off.
Yeah.
Before that point, you have no idea what's inside this suit. Is it a robot? What's going on here?
It's a Neapolitan ice cream cone.
And that's what it looks like. But you peel these, and this conversation with the Emperor, everything is so deepened.
Yeah.
With
Conversation, which is heavily changed, by the way. The dialogue.
Yes.
And the visuals of that scene are very different. Like, what do they talk about in your cut, Micah?
I don't remember. I talk about some.
It's just the son of Skywalker has made a return. We have a new
it's
enemy.
Just like stuff. It's like, Skywalker's around. Get him.
In this movie, in the reimagined cut, the special edition, they name drop Anakin, which isn't originally in the movie until Return of the Jedi.
It was nothing mind blowing from the Emperor on his first. I mean, it's this mysterious dude, but. He's gone in 2 seconds, and you just kind of like forget about him.
She's gone.
Oh yeah, she. Yeah.
And
played by a female, apparently.
Originally, with dog eyes or something.
If you've never seen the deleted scene, the Emperor was not always Ian McDiarmid. As I said, when I found out that it wasn't him and it was this weird bug-eyed thing, but even that scene is like, oh my gosh, this is the Emperor who they kind of talked about last episode. And especially if you watch this after you watch all the prequels, I mean, this is just natural. Okay, oh my gosh, the Emperor is coming back. He's got something to say to Vader. I have no doubt that this is the offspring of Anakin Skywalker. And Darth Vader, keep in mind, who already knows that Luke Skywalker is out there and pretty much is his son, says, how is this possible? And it says a lot about Darth Vader, who's already been trying to track him down, who's already been trying to find him. It says a lot about the Sith in and of itself, because he's been planning as he says to Luke, we can destroy the Emperor. That's his plan all along. But it's that weird Sith relationship that they've got going on. The rule of two. It's so good within the context of the whole saga, and just by itself, this is one of the best Star Wars movies. And I'm really interested to hear where this ranks. And I'm very interested that you, Micah, had some little. You're not entirely positive, because I pretty much am. I'm pretty much entirely positive, except for one. Well, two things.
The original dialogue was just, there's a disturbance. We have a new enemy. It's Luke. He could destroy us. The Force is strong with him. Son of Skywalker must now become a Jedi. He would be a great asset. Can it be done? That's about it. Yeah. So, like, I mean,
much more fleshed out in the special edition. One of the best changes, in my opinion, just for consistency wise.
They recorded that on set of episode 3, I think, right?
I believe they did. Yeah. As he changed into, it was for the 2004 re-release of the DVDs, and that's how they changed it, I think.
Well, also, I don't want to come across as saying like, oh yeah, Empire, it's trash, it's so dookie. No, I really like Empire. I just don't want to say the same thing that everyone's been saying.
You famously gave out your highest score ever on the podcast last week, tied with
Logan.
With Logan. So you're just setting the stage for when it comes time to rank this, why it may not pass that.
But I also want to say that Empire, in my opinion, a little spoiler here, it's just about as good as A New Hope, but in a different way for me. That's why I wanted to say, all right, it's a great it's a great movie, but is it a great Star Wars movie based on what we saw last week? And knowing absolutely nothing before watching Empire except for Star Wars, like there's no other episodes. Is this a Star Wars movie as well? And with our context, knowing everything, Empire fits perfectly into the timeline. But back then, would people have been as receptive to it? And
we know it stood the test of time.
It definitely did. And you know what? I think that the VFX really stand the test of time in this. I mean, it is amazing how much better the special effects are in this one compared to A New Hope. They do every single special effects shot that made A New Hope so special in the first like 20 minutes, but they do like 50 of them. And it's crazy. Like they do overlapping TIE fighters. They do flipping Millennium Falcons. They do super speedy chases into canyons and into asteroids, which was almost impossible for the first one. They had to really spend a lot of time to nail that down. But now that they got the methods down to create these shots, it's awesome how they did it. And the matte paintings, I talked about it earlier, which is a shame that they swapped out for CG in the special editions, but also it helps it to stand the test of time, all that. But the matte paintings mix so much better in this movie. Like they took the time to trim the lines and make it mix. If you weren't looking for matte paintings, you probably wouldn't even notice that they were in this. There are 70 matte paintings in this. 70 paintings made for this movie. It's amazing.
Another thing that was made for this movie is the puppet of Yoda.
Frank Oz.
Guys, what do we think of Yoda?
I was looking through some reviews. People were saying he's ugly in this movie.
So much the fact that even my wife, she laughs at Yoda's dialogue, and during the serious parts, not during the beginning when you know it's. I mean, I was cracking up at the beginning as he's mine.
I love it because every time you watch it, you're trying to be like, okay, yeah, he's playing dumb, but also like, dude hasn't seen a human being for like 20 years.
Like, why wouldn't you want to mess with him?
Specifically, this time when he grabs the flashlight from R2, just my brain went to, bro, he misses his lightsaber so bad.
Oh yeah,
he's just playing with that little flashlight. It's like, this is how it used to be.
He grabs Luke's little taquito and he starts.
Right. Bro, I've always wanted, growing up even, I'm like, I want to eat that taquito right there.
Oh man, Parker's got some taquitos in the freezer right now. But Rebecca, when Yoda was introduced again, she was like, oh, I forgot how annoying he is.
Oh man.
She thought he was annoying at first, which, yeah, I mean, if I were there and Yoda was messing with my stuff, I'd be annoyed too. And he's just like this little green dude. Imagine in theaters in 1980, this is the first, you wouldn't even expected this. Like, yeah, he's going to Dagobah to find Yoda. Oh, this is the character that'll lead him to Yoda. Cool. But you would never have expected that this was Master Yoda.
Yeah.
Like, this little green dude, there wasn't even a small being like this before, except for Jawas, but they never spoke.
Yeah.
So, like,
And now this dude's talking
this
in
is
riddles.
crazy. Yeah. And I just want to, what would I do to go back to
And watch
experience
it.
these
This
movies?
movie, yeah, I know.
Like, just having this mindset going in, like, all right, what did we know going into this movie at the time? That's so cool to me. Like, episode 4 name dropped a lot of things. Episode 5 does a lot of things that are new.
Yep.
So it doesn't expand on the things that were already name dropped, but it expands on the things that were already performed in the first one, like the Force and like ships and locations and Jedi. Yeah, it
Vader.
focuses on the main concepts and these aliens and fleshing those out.
Yeah. The
Super
character,
cool.
it's like character focused. And
Yeah.
I love Yoda, just the puppet, and how, like, it's crazy how good that still looks, even when you watch it now.
Yeah,
And
it's got the eye movements.
Like,
It's got the eyelids. It's
Frank
got the
Oz.
mouth.
Yep.
It's got the...
you know who they styled it after? And so,
Kermit?
no. The wrinkles are from Albert Einstein. They mocked the wrinkles off
Really?
Albert Einstein, and then the Stuart Freeburn is his name, who designed the puppet. They combined his face with Einstein's face.
Oh, I hate
And
to be
that's how they
Stuart
morphed
Freeburn.
into
Wow.
Stuart.
Lego. Lego. Why
Interesting.
did I say Lego? Yoda.
Into Lego.
Yeah.
But even then, as goofy as that character
it is.
is, as goofy as he is, there's a moment in the hut and then at least for me, it just shifts.
Oh, I love that line.
The boy has no patience. I cannot train him. And you're like, wait, what? Hold on. And then as Luke realizes, you sit there and you're like, wait, that is Master Yoda. And it's like that. It's like that. I absolutely see him as this wise Jedi master, as he's just spitting bar after bar of wisdom straight at Luke.
Even the lines he drops before, the first one that hints, oh, is this guy more than what he seems? When Luke says he's looking for a great warrior, and he says, oh, great warrior. Wars not make one great.
Yep.
That was like, ooh, that's interesting,
Little
because then
tease there. Yeah.
looking back on the prequels, he was a warrior, but he doesn't see himself as, like, there were many warriors back then.
As much as the Jedi Council, Yoda also had to learn a lot about a war. That was the first major war Yoda had to deal with in his 800 years, 900 years of living. And that was his lesson to learn. As the same thing with the Jedi Council. He just didn't know it until he made it to Dagobah. Wars not make one great. And then as he's going through and explaining the Force, as good as Alec Guinness is explaining what the Force is, it's an energy field. I got teary-eyed listening to Frank Oz. I'm not kidding you. Explain the Force. Luminous beings are we, not this
explains it
crude
2
matter.
times, and I love him.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there getting emotional from this explanation.
Save your emotions for when Qui-Gon Jinn explains the Force in Phantom Menace, okay?
But you can't. In my opinion, you can't get better than this. Why try?
I love this line.
That was a joke.
When you are calm, this is Yoda. I don't want to use the Yoda voice anymore because it kind of hurts my throat. When you are calm, at peace, passive, a Jedi uses the Force for knowledge and defense, never for attack. Do we see Yoda use the Force in attack? Like, does he?
Oh, yeah.
Does he? I mean, like, I know that he uses it as defense.
Well, in the prequels, definitely.
Yeah, but like in the fight between him and Sidious, does he use the Force in like a, I'm gonna crush you with this thing, or in like a, I don't know. I'm gonna pay attention to that. How much does Yoda go back on his word from here? Or maybe this is him just being regretful of his forcive actions.
I think it is. Even in the prequels, you don't even have to go there. You go to Clone Wars. He definitely uses his saber. Now, an argument can be made. He uses it a lot against droids. So is there something else going on there? That's up for debate. but the wisdom for Yoda.
Yeah, there's no
it's-
debating how wise this
Yeah.
character is. But Ben, I want you just to explain a little bit, because Ben is a resident lore master here, self-proclaimed lore master of Star Wars. Can you explain Dagobah and what is present there? Yeah, what is Dagobah?
You
Unless
want the
that's
long
too long.
answer or the short answer?
I want just the
A clear
Why
answer.
does Yoda go there?
Sith had a lot to do with this planet in the past. That's why there is that dark cave.
I didn't know
But
that.
this also makes it's a lot of expanded universe stuff. But in the Clone Wars, Yoda actually goes here in the Clone Wars TV show. He goes here first, led by Qui-Gon's ghost, to check this place out. There's clearly something here. It's very strong in the Force, but certain areas are darker and lighter than others. But this is a perfect place for him to hide his presence. Yoda is very strong with the Force.
So like
And-
Vader and the Emperor couldn't detect him there.
And you notice it's very close to that dark side cave he goes on. And there's a lot of novels and video games even
So
that have people going to that place. But
the dark side cave, is there more on that, or is just a cave where the dark side is present?
they have deliberately left that unambiguous. It is just a place where the dark side is more powerful.
Okay.
And it's more of a storytelling device
Yeah.
than it is anything. Because
even when I was a kid, I would watch it, and even now, I mean, I still like, okay, I get what the scene is for, but I'm trying to, what's the logic of where Vader comes in, and it's Luke, and
It's definitely the most artsy that Star Wars goes. Like the most just blatant
in the
symbolism.
films.
Yeah, it's just blatant symbolism right there on screen.
But I can tell you right now, your line that you just mentioned, you will know when you are calm and peace. And when Luke goes into that cave and he says, "Whoa, what will I find? What do I expect? Only what you take with you."
He's looking for a fight.
He's
He
looking
takes
for
his
it.
weapons.
He is fearful. He takes his weapons. That is exactly what meets him in the cave. That is exactly what meets him. Yoda gives him the answer. He offers it up to him. Your weapons, you will not need them. This is your test. Luke fails.
Yeah, and I love just the maturity and growth you see through Luke in these films, and he's so like, we often want to rush to a character being somewhere. Like most recent example I can picture this is the John Watts Spider-Man trilogy. You want to rush to the character being where you want him to be. But these movies are a prime example of no, you don't have to rush. The third movie, you can get them to where they want to be. The first two, you can build up the character. And this is exactly what Yoda and Ghost Obi-Wan are like, bro, it's a trap. Don't go back. They're luring you. And then the next scene is Han's like in pain. Like, they didn't even ask me any questions. Vader and the Emperor knew exactly what they were doing, and Luke fell right for it.
Yeah.
I love
Even
seeing.
Leia was saying it was a trap. I mean,
And you talk about Luke's rise. He slowly becomes the best version. I mean, he basically becomes the best version of what a Jedi should absolutely be. And that's I love the contrast between this trilogy and the prequel trilogy. As you watch Luke rise, the main character of the prequel trilogy, you watch him slowly fall. And there is that through line. As you watch that main character fall, you also watch him then eventually he redeems himself through the use of his son. It's the rise and then the fall going back from each trilogy. That's a nice through line you can draw through the original six films. It's something that I really, really enjoy. Something else that I really, really enjoy in this movie is John Williams' music.
ooh.
Is it better, guys? Is this better than the first one, or does it simply expand upon the themes?
I mean,
in
I
the
know-
first?
difficult because it's the Star Wars themes and then they're expanded and there's the
Imperial
Han
March.
and Leia theme and there's Imperial March.
Man.
Yoda's theme, man.
I don't know. Like I feel like it does the same thing that it does with the special effects. Like it does everything cool that the first movie did, just like amped up to 11.
Right.
Which
But
that's
does
not
it,
a bad thing.
Does it hit as hard when it's not our first time experiencing it?
I don't know.
You know?
I don't know.
Well, the Imperial. If you got to go with a moment, we were talking about it earlier. The Executor. You have a shot of a Star Destroyer, which we've seen, so massive.
Yeah.
And as you watch it, you see a shadow dwarf this thing, and you get a wide shot.
How
of
big is the
this
Executor?
freaking huge ship, the Executor, Vader's flagship, playing the new Imperial March, which was not present in the previous film.
Man.
It hits, man. That is
So
my
good.
favorite musical moment
It
in
is
this movie.
awesome. Yeah. And are we doing favorite musical
Do it,
moment right
man,
now?
yeah.
All right. Can I do the same song, just different moment?
Which
Because
moment?
there is a different rendition of the Imperial March that plays right after Darth Vader tells Luke that he's his father. It's a much slower version, you know. It's like, dun, dun, you know, you
sit with
know
it.
it,
It
and you
enables
sit
you to
with it,
sit with what he
and
just
the
said.
emotions of everything is hitting you in that moment. And I just love, like,
You got all the violins going crazy.
right. And when Luke drops off the ledge or whatever you call it, and then Vader's arm drops, like, I have never, like, the body work is just amazing because you can't see Vader's face, but just the way he dropped his hand, you're like, he's like, bruh, really? I had you so cornered.
Yep.
You were stuck. And he just jump. What the heck? And then the next scene is actually, they recut it. George Lucas recut it when he did the special editions. The original cut, Vader just goes, bring my shuttle, like, very angrily. But then the new cut is like, alert my ship to send me my shuttle. It just doesn't hit as hard because bring my shuttle is such an angry line, and you
Yeah,
perfectly see, like,
he
you
sounded
just watched
very
it.
angry
Yeah.
like this. He's a very angry individual in this movie. Like every single action that he takes, it's not a, can you please send the ship to bring my shuttle,
Right.
please?
Like, you feel like bro spent 20
is
years
short,
with
dude.
the Emperor working on a Death Star, and this nobody farm boy shows up, blows it up. Oh yeah, I'd be angry too, you know?
Well, you also have the absence of Tarkin, who more or less kept him on his leash in the first one. I mean, this is him as Tarkin, but yet with a Vader twist. He doesn't have Tarkin to say, enough of this, Vader, release him. It's just, he just goes, he's as clumsy as he is
Unleashed.
stupid. Opens up a holo recorder and just chokes him out right
Yeah.
in front of it. You're in charge
And you
now,
really
Admiral
see-
Piet.
You really see Anakin showing through in this Darth Vader. I mean, he's reckless. He does things just out of his anger. And you really see that, and I love that.
But this is the first, you got to imagine, this is the first time Anakin, I honestly don't really believe that Anakin ever really shows himself truly until we get to Return of the Jedi, but this is the most that Vader has experienced feelings for something in a long time. He's found out that he has a son. His son is alive. He knew Padme was pregnant all throughout Revenge of the Sith, and now that the possibility of there being a son out there,
Yeah.
that's why he doesn't tell the Emperor right away.
He doesn't know about Leia by the end of the movie, does he?
Nope.
No,
No.
okay.
Yeah. Since we're on it, this is often considered the original movie spoiler, right? That Vader is Luke's father. And fun fact, I talked to my dad about this. I'm like, Dad, what was it like seeing this in theaters? And my dad goes, well, before I saw the movie, my cousin Chris told me.
No
He
way.
told me that Vader was Luke's father.
You mean they didn't post on Twitter saying, hush, hush,
don't spread
spoilers."
the word.
Oh, man.
You're gonna have to do that in a
And
couple
I'm like,
weeks from
man,
Madam
that-
Web.
So, and I mean, us three, like, don't remember a moment in our life where Vader just wasn't Anakin.
I mean, you
Like-
played the Lego games. He was
Right, like-
he was Anakin before you even played the game for
Right, you
Empire.
just know that. So it is real super interesting to come at it from a perspective where this is a spoiler. People don't know this, and it gets me excited for when I get to show maybe uncultured people in the future these movies and go, well, look at this, and then
Are
see
you
what
talking
they
about
think.
like your kids or something?
My
Dude, I'm
kids,
talking
yeah, my kids.
bro.
I have a
I
few
can't wait.
cousins I want to show this that I don't know if they're ingrained. Like, this is such, like, even the we were talking about the letterboxed spoiler button is the Darth Vader helmet. So it almost feels like, how do you not know that Anakin or that Darth Vader is Luke's father?
Or at least there's something with it. I mean, even Rebecca, she's not super ingrained in Star Wars. I don't
His
know.
fiance.
Yeah, my fiance,
Yeah.
she's not super Star Warsy, but she knows. Everyone knows.
So, guys, if I ever get like amnesia or something, my memory goes, I'm entrusting you guys to show me these movies in a new light.
Are you solidifying that the order you would want to rewatch these is the order we're going through this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
All
yes.
right. That's all I needed to hear.
So-
I'm very happy to hear that.
And I might end up more like Ethan if that ever happens.
Man, I'm gonna get him like a baseball bat.
Just bash it
That's
on
the prequel about it. Come on.
You know, one thing that is huge from this movie is not only.
Here, wait. I want, before we get too far, your favorite musical moment from this movie.
Oh, okay.
Good
real
point.
quick on that same point that you were just talking about. The line that he says has a huge Mandela effect on it.
Luke.
People say, Luke,
Yeah,
I am
right.
your father. We would be amiss if we did not talk about that,
Yeah.
at least. And it was the same thing for A New Hope, where I was like, oh, it's not may the force be with you always. It's the force will be with you always. That's what Ben says.
And it's so Mandela affected that even James Earl Jones in an interview, he misquotes it too. He says, Luke, I am your father.
Yeah.
Right? He misquotes it too. That's crazy.
But I watched the
you said the
original
freaking
theatrical
line.
tape, and it was,
No.
I am your father.
Dude,
Such a great
Talking
scene.
about Mandela effect, what color is Han Solo's coat on Hoth? I'm asking you too.
It's like
I gotta
blue,
go
isn't
with
it?
blue, right?
Okay, blue.
Dark blue. right?
Blue. It is brown.
It's brown.
It is a brown coat, and everyone thinks it's blue because the colors of it make it, the lighting makes it look blue, and even the toys were released blue.
Yeah, sure.
Kenner,
That's what I'm
Kenner
thinking of.
released a blue toy, and there's even a blue Lego minifig with the blue coat. But look it up, because there's a Collider interview. I'll throw in the clip here of her with the actual prop.
This is the brown Hoth coat for Han Solo.
Now, why do you say brown like that?
There's a lot of controversy in the fan world about what color Han Solo's coat is on the planet Hoth from Empire Strikes Back. And they even made a Hasbro toy that was blue. Now, do you see a hidden blue coat?
No.
No, it's brown.
Done.
Case closed.
I love learning new things about
But,
Star Wars
musical
movies.
moment, Micah.
Well, you took the greatest one in the entire series, so
Which one?
Imperial Mark. We both
No,
took the
no,
We
Imperial-
both took it.
the Luke revealed as Vader's son, the bum bum bum. Bum. That one is my favorite. Out of like looking back before we watched this whole series, that's the one that I look to the most. That's the
Yeah.
one that I find myself picturing the image in my head and the slow.
You want to double
March.
down on it? Pick that one too? Sounds like you love it, man.
I'll go with something else then if you're gonna.
Well,
do
since
that.
Ethan already talked about it, I think I would have to pick the Han and Leia theme. I love their theme when they're macking.
Mm-hmm.
Now the
You love
Millennium same theme when the Falcon is flying around. Bum, bum, ba-da. I don't know.
Oh no. So
Ba-da-da-da.
that's their theme, honestly.
Okay, yeah.
But I guess I'm confused what you're asking.
The asteroid flying that song.
Oh yeah, it depends on which scene you're watching, but
I'll
they
do
use
that
both.
one. Then. Yeah, I'll do
Yeah.
that one. The asteroid scene when they're flying around with score specifically.
Yeah.
I love
yeah.
how it sets the tone and like brings back. Oh yeah, John Williams is back. He's back.
Yeah. Well,
Ben, what is the song that plays when Luke is first running through Cloud City? Do you know that one?
specifically the title of the
Yeah.
song, no, but
That-
Cloud City's
there-
theme
there's-
music.
I don't like the whole thing. Well, I mean, I like the whole thing,
Yeah.
but the beginning of it, I don't remember how it sounds, but when he first gets to Cloud City's running around with a gun, something about it, really eerie. I like it a lot.
Yeah. Well, you got to mention Yoda's theme. That musical moment, I should have taken it, honestly.
Feel the force surround you.
The beautiful swelling of his theme and the Force theme, pretty much as he raises the X-wing out and brings it over to Luke to just drop a bomb in front of him. It's so good.
I love how just Luke is just so dumb, and Yoda's just like, bro,
right.
I have taught Jedi for 800 years, and the context of all of this is so different when you have Revenge of the Sith in your mind, and how like him and Obi-Wan are looking at baby Luke like, all right, bro, we just gotta leave and then wait or hope, that this guy turns out. And then all these years later, he shows up and Yoda's just like, oh, he's too impatient. This kid sucks.
He's like, oh shoot, he's just like his dad.
It's even so bad that he's like, there's another, it's okay if he dies.
That is an amazing scene.
He has a sister.
Yes,
Yeah.
I know how you
love
bring
the
it up.
colors in that scene. So it starts off with the
moment,
white lights from the X-wing.
Yep.
Then it goes up, and then you see the natural lights of Dagobah. Like the surrounding lights, and then it gets completely dark, and then the red lights go onto Yoda's face, and there was another.
Oh,
That is probably one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie.
it's so good, man. Right before they go and drop a bomb in front of you, a huge spoiler, they set up another huge mystery. There's another Jedi
is
out
it?
there. Are you kidding me?
It's Rey.
What? It's Ahsoka
Guys,
Tano.
It's Ahsoka. It's
Oh my
Ezra Miller.
gosh.
Not Ezra Miller. Oh, shoot. Ezra
Oh my
Bridger.
gosh, it's
Ezra
Leia.
Bridger. I take
Ezra
it.
Miller cast as Ezra Bridger. Oh my goodness, that would be something
What?
else, man.
It's bizarre. We'll get to it when we get to the sequels, but it's bizarre how they never just fully let Leia be a Jedi. They allude to it and you see flashbacks of it, but it's really interesting how they never, you'd love to.
In these films,
Yeah, in the films, like in the sequel. Like she never wields a lightsaber though, right? In the sequels, does she? I don't remember.
in much of the expanded lore, though, she goes on to become a Jedi.
Right, but we're talking about what Disney did. But not today. I didn't need to bring the mood down in the room.
Ugh.
Empire. I love the Empire, and just
Yes.
I
love the Empire.
I'm gonna say it. I love the Empire, and
yeah.
I've gone on record many times saying this, but my favorite era of Star Wars is the era of the Empire. Seeing right at the end, I'd even say right when the flip happens in Revenge until the end of Return of the Jedi. This is my favorite era, specifically between Revenge and A New Hope. Everything within there. I love the dark times. I love little group of rebels struggling. And you really see the struggle in this movie. Like they are so small. You have a fleet chasing just the Millennium Falcon. I'll say it right. Falcon.
Nice.
I love that chase. And he's like, I got to fly through this asteroid field. And then he, goes through and Vader's like, I don't care. Like, go get him. Go get him.
Dude. And the hologram scene, as one guy just tapers off and it just fades out.
Well, you see the asteroid hit the ship, and he's
And nobody even bats an eye. They're just like,
he's
they
dead.
don't even look at
See
him.
a chump.
see you later. Should have put those shields up.
See a chump.
But I love how big the Empire is versus how small the rebels are, and it's something they try to mirror so hard in the sequels and just flop so hard. But I love this. It's why Andor I was so pulled to, and even why I'm a bigger fan of Rebels, Star Wars Rebels, than most people, because I love this specific era of just the Empire. And you really get to see the Empire truly does strike back in this movie. Like, they are mad.
Well said.
Well said. They blew up our big planet killing Death Star. Yeah, we're a little angry. We're a little angry. Yeah.
Yep.
You know what? This wasn't the first time that a big property used the word strikes back in the title. We had Spider-Man Strikes Back in 78.
Got him.
This was before that.
Yeah.
Ooh. Empire copies Spider-Man, the great Spider-Man film. Guys, we got to talk about the lightsaber fight. We're going to rank every lightsaber fight. I just have one question for you. Is this better than A New Hope's lightsaber fight?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's no contest
Just
here.
say it. It is.
This is like...
This is one of the best lightsaber fights, just compositionally. It looks beautiful. The tension is there.
Yes.
This is the only one where it's like a young dude who could actually run around versus Darth Vader. I mean, like he's Darth Vader. Come on.
The way that Vader is just composed.
He's so menacing.
He's like one-handed fighting Luke the whole time, and he's just trying to gauge.
Shout out David Prowse, man.
Yes.
He's just trying to. How strong is this guy? How strong my son with the Force, and he's kind of like, he's like, most impressive, dude. Like, come on, this is really cool. He's kind of proud. And then right when Luke gets one good hit on Vader, then the next swing, Vader cuts it. He's like, all right, I'm done playing game. I'm cutting your arm off. You're gonna hit me. You're done, bro. Right. Okay. He's like, he's playing a game with Luke. He's like, okay, Luke, you know what, Luke, you're pretty good, but you just hit my shoulder. I gotta cut your arm off.
I like how Darth Vader is plan A is to freeze him in carbonite first.
Yeah.
And then when that doesn't work, he's like, well, time to kill. You know,
right. Let's go.
Now I'm going to try to convince you to go to the dark side. Like, all right, so you had to prove yourself first.
What a turn.
That's part of it. That's
the end of his rope. And just that whole, it's probably, yeah. All right, I'll stop there.
It's the best.
We'll get into favorite scenes later, but I love this lightsaber scene. It's easily better than A New Hope, and it might be my favorite of the franchise. Just shot wise and premise wise, you know, what it brings to the story, and just the way that the Vader is composed, and the way that Luke is just so scrappy with his fighting, and how it ends. Like, well, it ends like even when you're a kid, like you pretend your arm's severed. Yeah. They do that same thing. Like his arm's just clearly in his sleeve. Bro, and even later in the shot, you see him like, you see the fist tucked in under the shirt. You see that, and it's like, okay,
wait, we can kind of see your hand, so just like
tuck it into your shirt.
Tuck it in.
That's another thing that, not to get too off track, but in the Return of the King, when Frodo gets his hand bit off, and he clearly just has his hand like this. It's clearly like this. Like he just does not have. I mean, it's like, okay, we can see that.
It's like, if you're gonna go there. Like,
cut his hand off. Come on, guys.
But even the next scene, they give him a fully robotic hand, which you're like, okay, well, let's see what he would have been like one
they
hand.
did that, though. That's
it is
impressive
cool.
Scene.
Yeah.
I think just based on memory, the fight from Return of the Jedi is a more powerful one for me. Score wise, choreography wise, I think it's a better fight. And I can't wait to see that.
Oh no, never mind.
But yeah, Empire Strikes Back is the best fight we've had in this Star Wars watch through
so far. We got 1 and 2. Is there anything else you guys want to say before we get to favorite scene, favorite character? Anything else you want to shout out?
Easily the worst Lego Star Wars episode.
Oh, without a doubt.
Without a doubt.
Thank you for mentioning that.
100%ing the Hoth levels is so tedious. You got to fly around with these bombs and on your little, what's it called? The little wire. I don't remember what they're called. And they fall in the holes or they
cables.
The little ATSTs are walking, the tow cable, the little ATSTs walking around. And I'm going to run into your bomb.
Yeah, dude.
You gotta bring it across the whole level. It's such a pain.
What is the most memorable level from this game? Is it
Cloud City? Was my favorite.
Oh yeah, is it Dagobah?
But no, for me it's the first level, Secret Plans, the very first one. I played that one the most.
The first level was the Battle of Hoth.
I also really remember. Oh, I thought you just meant the whole game.
No.
For Lego Star Wars.
No. For this, we're talking episode 5.
That's what I thought Ethan said. If we're going episode 5, the best level I think is the second Hoth level, the one when you're going through the base.
That one is very fun.
I love that one. You go in this ice rink in the middle at some point in the game.
We do get our first boss battle in episode 5 with Darth Vader.
Yes,
because you don't fight a boss in A New Hope. There is no boss. It's just the Death Star battle. So, I really like the Darth Vader battle in this.
Yeah, that's a good one. And just jumping around on Cloud City. The level design in Lego Star Wars is peak.
Yes.
Now it's time to talk peak characters.
Ethan, did you have a favorite level real quick?
Or I go Dagobah's the one I remember the most.
Dagobah is a lot of fun.
Yeah. And I like, because you get to play as R2 and he goes underwater and he has his rope.
And he goes,
yeah, that's so fun.
You got to dodge the monster in the water.
I even had an action figure that had that feature on it. It was super cool.
Empire is definitely the one that I hated going back to 100%.
Yeah.
That's all.
There was the Millennium Falcon level when you're in the asteroid fields.
Getting enough studs without a multiplier is very difficult.
Yes.
And the mini kits are easy to miss. But yeah, let's move on.
Great game. Yeah. Favorite character, guys, in Empire Strikes Back. Ethan, take it away.
Oh, don't do it. Darth Vader. Darth Vader, I'll take him.
Yep.
This movie solidified Darth Vader as one of the all-time great bad guys, and I needed to watch Empire before we did our Endgame podcast because I gave Thanos a ton of praise, and I still love Thanos, and I love the way he goes against Tony. Oh, I'm forgetting their names already. Thor and Captain America. It's been so long, guys.
Oh my goodness.
Since the
Dude, you
marathons.
watched 57 movies and now you're forgetting?
Come on.
But Vader is solidified as an all-time great baddie, and just the rage and anger he has throughout this movie. He just wants to get the job done. You never think that a little group of rebels would be such a thorn in his side, and they are. The whole film, in one way or another, they're trying to track him down. But then when it comes down to it, and they arrive at Cloud City, Vader's already there. Vader's already there. He's taken over Lando Calrissian, who we have neglected to talk about this far into the podcast. The man of Riz himself, Calrissian.
Yep.
He gets a little like redemption arc, like the 40 minutes that he's in this movie, somewhat, and then he, puts on Han's clothes after getting him wrecked. We'll talk about that.
Why
but
does he put on Han's clothes?
it's so funny. You're like what? They just replaced Han Solo?
What?
But
Recast it?
Well, that's originally what they were. You guys know about it,
because
right?
Harrison Ford wasn't going to come back.
They
maybe.
literally had Lando be that role just in case Harrison Ford didn't come back for Return of the Jedi. Which he did. Everyone
I didn't know that, actually.
had a happy ending. But yeah, dude, that's...
we
introduced
in return, Han's not
smuggler.
even flying the Millennium Falcon in the Falcon.
I've got a lot of things to say about Han in Return of the Jedi.
So actually, Han comes from Billy D. He pronounces him Han. And then within the context of that scene, everyone's like, okay, he said Han, we'll roll with that in that scene. And then that kind of built like a whole Han versus Han in the movie. So that's why it's so weird. But Vader, love Vader. I love the reveal of him being Luke's father. It just, the original spoiler, like even Harrison Ford in the theater leaned over to Mark Hamill like, you didn't tell me that. Like, it's so cool. Like, they kept that so under wraps, and it's such a cool reveal. But also, the one in the script would have been a cool reveal, too. Obi-Wan killed your father. That would have been interesting, too, because he almost did.
Imagine what a world that would have been.
That would have been crazy. But I love Darth Vader. I love him. And, yeah, the Imperial March definitely contributes to him being just epic.
His great John Williams. That's why Star Wars. That's part of the reason why Star Wars characters are so iconic. They have the greatest musical themes, bro. Name Iron Man's theme. He's got freaking 3 of them.
I am Iron Man.
I mean, 4 of them if you want to count AC/DC, man.
Kids in
Nah.
my
Luke
van.
Skywalker's got one theme. Vader's got one theme. Actually, has 2 themes as time goes on. But Micah,
You know who else has a theme? Han Solo.
Ooh.
He is my favorite of this movie.
Nice.
So good. Yeah.
But
Oh God.
I will say, I really liked where they were going with him in the first movie, how he was supposed to be this skeptic, of the Force. He's, all my years, I've never seen something that proves that there's this thing that controls all the whatever. That was cool hearing that from him. And they kind of ripped that part of it that I loved about him from the first movie.
But they still add a bunch you love because you're selecting
and
here.
They replace it with something I think is
Humanizing.
a bit more humanizing, a bit more valuable in a long-term franchise is the romance plot.
Yep.
I love how the poster, the best poster, one of the greatest posters of all time, Empire's poster, has just full on, there's Han and Leia right dead center.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful. I love the will she, won't she, will she fall for
Will
him?
they, won't they?
Will
Yeah.
they, won't they? I love how Han and Leia's relationship is introduced here, where she's just like staring at him from
Right.
across the war room. And every time Han turns around, she's staring at him. And he's like, so we're going to talk about it or what? And she's like, talk about
build
what?
of tension.
You know what we're talking about. You
Yeah.
know exactly what it is. I love it. And I mean, what sci-fi movie has gotten that right around this time?
Right. And even the reason it works so well is because from both sides of the relationship, the characters are just so dynamic and well realized. Like we see a lot of love stories fall flat when the female lead also isn't realize. But Leia, in and of herself, is a fantastic character. Like she, even in this movie, I think Carrie Fisher is even better than she was in.
Oh, they're both much more real characters in this. I feel like the first movie they had more like, all right, Leia is gonna be this. She's gonna be a different type of damsel in distress. She's gonna shoot a gun a couple times, but then she's gonna take more of a table approach where she's gonna just like lead the war or whatever once we get to Yavin. And Han, he's gonna be the skeptic. He's gonna be more of a, I'm gonna take the money and run because I've got some debts to pay, and then I'm gonna come and save the day at the end of the movie. And in this movie, it starts off with the I got to go because Jabba's gonna get me if I don't pay this debt, and it's reminded, okay, yeah, this debt is looming over him still. He still hasn't paid it. And then it's paid off at the end. Like he's captured because of this. Yeah. And Boba Fett takes him to set up the next movie. That's what makes Empire is a very intermediary movie. Like you can't have Empire without A New Hope. You probably can have it without Return of the Jedi, but then you don't get the whole story.
Right.
And Empire, I feel like on its own wouldn't hold up as well story-wise because there's so many loose threads that are left on. There's so many loose threads that they pick up on from A New Hope. And can you fault that? I mean, it's a sequel. Come on.
Yeah, you get that with any
I just
sequel.
noticed it. I just noticed that it didn't.
It builds. It builds off the other one. You can't start a Two Towers, or the Two Towers without seeing the first one, and you don't want to watch it without watching Return of the King. So it's very... same thing there. You can't just judge it on its own movie. But
it's a great sequel in that regard.
Yeah,
where it makes itself purposeful. You have to watch 2 to get the whole story. It's not like Blade 2 where you can just skip it and go to Blade 3 and
you would not skip
that.
1, 2,
and then you can skip Blade 3 too.
Come on.
Jump back to Blade 1
and then go right to House of Kython.
Holy catfish, man! Jeez.
Han Solo.
Yeah.
I love their theme. I love the how he goes out and saves Luke at the beginning. That was a great plot line. I'd say that he's the main
best character in this movie.
I'd say he's the best character. He's the main character in this. I think Luke takes more of a not necessarily the B plot character, but it's like the B.5.
I disagree. Luke's story is why I'm there.
But I think that's what makes it so good is the ensemble of it.
Yes. They're all
there is
great
an argument
characters
for it. Yeah.
Even if we go in the second episode of a series and he goes on some offshoot planet right there, you want to see where that goes.
They should make a movie about it.
In Han Solo?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I don't know.
I'd like to hear about
Harrison Ford's a bit old. Do you think that would work?
No.
I don't know. You probably have to cast a new actor for that.
Well, it worked for Indiana Jones, so.
Whoa. Anyway, dang. I'm going to continue in my picking characters who have a very small minor role.
Oh, I forgot you do this. Wait, can I guess?
Size matters not.
You can guess, and I will even give a hint. It is on the Imperial side of things. It is on the Imperial side.
I was gonna say the guy with the ice cream maker running through Cloud City.
No, it is not Wilro Hood. It is
Parker
not
did
Wilro
point
Hood.
him out.
Wilro Hood, he's a good one, but he's a little too minor for me to pick.
Captain Nita?
Not Captain Nita.
Not Captain Nita.
We're going with Admiral Piet, who goes from. He's the main guy, the main Imperial Admiral, going from. He is promoted in this movie.
Oh, that guy.
And then he gets his comeuppance in Return of the Jedi. But you watch his rise almost unintentionally in this film as he just watches, as Admiral Ozzel's getting choked out right there, and he's receiving instructions from Vader, and he's like, "Yes, my lord." And you see him just look at him, and he's like,
the composure
I got him in Lego right there. Isn't he he's in the video, right?
That is that is General Veers.
Okay.
Comscan. That's a different guy. The Comscan had detected an energy field.
Different guy.
Yeah.
Yes, my lord.
Have you seen that cut of that scene where it's him running up to the chamber and he's like, Comscan has detected, and then it closes and then he opens. Have you seen that?
Re-edited? No, I have not seen
I'll
that.
have to show you guys that because it's so dumb.
I can imagine that. That is that's General Veers though.
Okay.
Admiral Pitt, he's a great performance, and like you get with Wedge Antilles, he's the rebel pilot who's always just kind of there. This is the Imperial Admiral who is there for this, and he comes back in Return of the Jedi. I think Admiral Pitt gives a great performance. Very underrated character. Now it's time for favorite scene. Favorite scene, boys.
I just got it spoiled that he dies in the next movie.
Oh, bro, stay off Wikipedia, bro.
Wikipedia.
That's what I meant. Dang it.
We're gonna go with Micah first on this one, man.
Which one is it?
You can go your favorite scene.
Favorite scene?
You get first pick.
We've talked about all my favorites, so I'm gonna just say the there was another scene.
Nice.
I love that Luke talking with Ben, talking with Yoda, and he's like, I gotta go save my friends. They're in pain. I need to save them. And then Yoda's like, hey man, you can't do this. And Luke's like, I'll come back. I'll complete my training. And then Ben and Yoda are talking, and he's like, no, there is another. I love how it's shot. I love the dialogue. I don't have it memorized. I'm not a very good memorized dialoguer dude, but
You're not a good monologuer.
I'm not a good
dialoguer, dude.
Got him.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, speaking of monologues, you know what line is in this? We would be honored
If you would join us. Yes.
OG Multiverse Monologues intro.
Why
Look at
didn't
you,
I
Micah.
freaking...
Micah remembers because he was a listener.
Yeah,
back
I
in
was
the
a
day.
listener. He was one of the OGs.
We converted
man.
him, guys.
Dang, I missed that old intro. That's a great scene, man.
But yeah,
Yep.
Yoda is just amazing in this movie. I'm surprised none of us took him.
I know. Ben
He would have
did
been my
his
close second.
niche pick.
Ethan, what's it gonna be, man?
Yeah,
what's
really
your favorite
niche pick.
scene?
He's
All
got
right.
like 5 lines.
Oh man, so many great scenes in this movie,
better pick him
and
for
just like Micah, I want to try to highlight a scene that we haven't touched on because my favorite scene is the duel at the end. I love that, but right after that, Luke falls down. The Falcon picks him up. Were you gonna pick this?
No, I have a scene. I was
Luke
hoping
is
you
like
guys wouldn't pick
flipping
it.
around on that antenna. He's like,
And he has one hand. Yeah. Yep.
I would be hugging that thing. Like my lightsaber that just fell.
The Falcon comes and picks him up, and then right there, they're like, they've picked up Luke, but they have not escaped the grasp of the Empire, and they're flying, and then they're like, all right, hit the hyperdrive, let's go. Your people fixed it, right, Lando? No, it doesn't work. And you're like, no, what's gonna happen? And
I was like, that was before the episode today.
and then R2D2's like, yo, I had a really cool chat with the Cloud City main computer, and he's like, bro, your hyperdrive doesn't work. It's like, all right. Then R2 goes fix it, saving the day like the G he is. And then the hyperdrive works. But this is my favorite scene. The ship flies away, and the guys are like to Vader, Lord Vader, we lost them. And Vader, he's been killing people all movie. He turns and he walks away. And you just feel the tension, and everyone's like looking down the runway as he walks by. They're like, oh man.
It seems in your anger.
Dude,
And he lost it.
Like, he's just so ticked off. He just walks out of the movie and walks right into Return of the Jedi. Like, he's so angry that the Emperor has to show up in the next film. But that's my pick, because
Good scene.
right at the end when Han is just putting carbonite and he's gone. Lando just puts on his clothes and replaces him. Luke his arm is chopped off. Vader's his father. You're like, oh no, they've lost, but they're able to escape. They still lose at the end of the movie, but they're able to escape the grasp of Vader, and he's just so ticked. I love that. That's my scene.
I love it. It's a great one, and I'm glad you didn't pick. So mine also has to do with the fight, but almost 4 years ago, in 2020, there was the 40th anniversary. I had a chance to see this movie in theaters
That's
with my
right,
dad,
yeah.
and it was epic. But one scene in particular that has stayed with me even to this day, and I got my new sound system, so it made the scene even more epic, just like it was in the theaters, is when Luke is searching for Vader, goes up, shot up into that chamber, and all you can hear is, you don't see him, but you can hear him.
Yeah.
And he says, "The Force is with you, young Skywalker. but you are not a Jedi yet.
You are not a Jedi.
And it
yet.
I turned up my speakers up all the way for that scene. It is
He's sitting there. His ears are bleeding with how loud they are.
Bro, it is so epic. James Earl Jones' line delivery is so good. And then as he walks up, he meets Vader face to face, ignites his lightsaber, puts it right up. This is Darth freaking Vader, the guy who killed Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
And Luke's going to go and face him.
Yeah.
That whole sequence, the entrance, the beginning of that
The
fight.
way it's shot is really beautiful. Just like the still image of their two lightsabers meeting for the first time is iconic, and just it's such good imagery.
Yep.
Yeah. Good pick, Ben.
That's my favorite scene. Micah, if you would be so kind as to educate us on scores, budget, all that
Yes.
jazz.
But you have to first, before we do this movie, we had a project in between this movie and the last one. What awards
Do you
did,
want me to go through
what
the
awards
awards
did the
for-
holiday
All right.
special get?
So, the Star Wars Holiday Special for nominations, it got
Okay.
Nothing.
oh yeah, that's the end of the list.
I got nothing.
I got nothing.
Sorry to divert us from
Just for the sake of completion, its budget was $1 million and its box office was
Ha ha ha.
I wrote on the list.
What was
'cause
not released in theaters? TV special.
Yes. All right, now for the good stuff. So Empire, for Academy nominations, it got Best Sound, Special Achievement for Visual Effects, Best Original Score, and Best Art Direction. And it won the Best Sound and the Special Achievement for Special Effects. And that's it. So it didn't win the Best Original Score. That went to Fame, the movie Fame. I had never seen it.
Very famous.
Famous movie.
Got
Yes,
him.
yes.
Good pun, Ben. Keep it going.
I should probably write down what these other ones were, but yeah, it won Best Sound, so I can see that. I mean, it was an amazingly sound affected movie.
Yep. Ben Burtt.
I'm
shout out
glad
to
that it
you.
got special effects for the special achievement for visual effects because it's still an amazing film. But for the Grammys, it won Best Album of Original Score written for a motion picture or a television special. That went to John Williams. And it won Best Instrumental Composition for The Empire Strikes Back. Also, it was nominated for Best Instrumental Composition for Vader's theme, and so the Imperial March, Darth Vader's theme, and Yoda's theme. So it had 3 nominations for Best Instrumental Composition. John Williams was the only person nominated for that category that year. There may have been, I think, one other song by some no-name dude.
So he was going to win regardless. It's just which song would he win for? Yeah.
And it won for some reason, or no, it was nominated for Best Pop Instrumental Performance for Yoda's theme. I got to listen to that again. Is that a poppy song?
No. I'll tell you that
Interesting.
much. Well, it does have the. It does have that kind of. So that's kind of upbeat.
You're going to listen to this one on the radio.
Yeah, right. Well, I guess so. Yoda's
It did
theme radio.
not-
edit.
This is the first Star Wars movie, not the holiday special. And the only Golden Globe win for Star Wars ever was the Best Original Score. But this is the last Golden Globes nomination that we ever get for Star Wars for Best Original Score. Did not win. For the BAFTA Awards, it won Best Original Music, and it was nominated for Best Production Design and Best Sound.
People love that music, man.
Yep. And it
Dang.
just goes downhill from here. There aren't many wins after that. There's only, I think, 2 or 3 Academy Award wins after this. Three wins total after this.
You're telling me the Caravan of Courage doesn't have any wins, bro? The Ewok films?
Unfortunately, it did not.
What?
All right, Empire Strikes Back's budget was $18 million. It made $4.9 million in its opening weekend.
The budget financed
Domestically.
by George Lucas himself.
Yes.
He did not go through a major studio for this, even though it was licensed out to Fox. George Lucas funded it himself
Yes.
with a loan, too.
And at the end of the day, box office total worldwide, 538 mil. Profit ratio puts it up at just under 30 times the budget.
Wow.
Crazy. Crazy. So definitely a huge success. Not nearly the runaway success, I guess. I mean, they're both runaway successes of the 72 times profit ratio of A New Hope. But yeah, that's it. I mean, it made almost double the amount domestically. So in America, it made twice as much as it did in the rest of the world. So yeah, pretty cool. Scores. We've got holiday special, just to get it out of the way. It was 27%, so 2.7 out of 10. Yikes. It is the lowest score out of the entire list. And then Empire Strikes Back, Rotten Tomatoes critic, we've got 95%. Rotten Tomatoes user, 97%. Metacritic, 82%. Metacritic user, that's out of 10, that's a 9. Letterboxd, out of 5, it is an 88%. I forget what that is. I should really write that down. IMDb is an 8.7 out of 10, bringing it to an average of 90. Solid 90, which matches it with A New Hope.
Yeah.
Same score for internet.
Same score,
Wow.
yes. The internet score ranks it the same. However, Hollywood Reporter does put it in second place.
All right, we have producer Parker in the house. He's going to give us his favorite character. He's going to awkwardly lean over Micah
Lean
after
in
seeing
for
the
a
video.
little kiss. Yep.
Whoa.
Whoa,
Hey,
love each other. I feel that tension.
All right.
Whoa.
Got it. Got it.
My favorite character in Empire is definitely C-3PO.
Ooh.
He is hilarious in this movie, especially if you count like his lines where he's interpreting R2-D2 as his own, like just his reactions to everything R2-D2 says. He is just hilarious. I love him in this
What about
movie.
that deleted scene?
Oh, the deleted scene with the Wampa? Amazing. I wish they had included it.
Yeah. I think they took it out because they didn't want C-3PO to seem that cool. It was a little too cool for him. Do you know what we're talking about, Ben?
No, I don't know. What are you
The
talking
scene
about?
when they're running through Hoth, they're trying to escape. You see a caution sign on a door. You still have the beginning scene.
yes,
Yeah, but
yes.
he like rips it off.
Yes.
So they open up the door and there's just this just amazingly long Wampa arm pulls a guy in like that fish hand from the SpongeBob.
Yes. Oh, yes.
That is perfect pull, Micah.
Very nice. There's one scene where C-3PO is talking about R2-D2 and he's like, of course, R2 has been known to be wrong
Yeah.
from time to time.
Never tell me the
And he
odds.
pauses for like 30 seconds in between there.
I mean, you're just like,
He's like on his way out of the room.
get out, bro.
I love the dynamic of him like being blown to bits, and he's on Chewbacca's back for a part of the movie. That's really cool.
Yes.
And he's
Thank
just
you.
berating Chewbacca the entire time Chewbacca is putting him back together.
Turn around, you Harry.
Turn around, you hairy Wookiee. He's like,
Yes.
Suck.
Good
Yeah.
pick. Thank you, producer Parker, for your excellent input. C-3PO, man. Very much enjoy it. Now, gentlemen, I believe before we get done, I believe it's time for scores. Right? On our
Yes.
parts.
Where does Empire
Back
fall?
in the day,
Right.
when I watched The
that's
Last
right,
Jedi,
that's right. Yep.
I
knew was
had
forgetting
just a
something.
quick ranking. For those who want the full context, check
We
out
do.
my the one from last week. This is a very hot take. The Last Jedi rankings. I gave The Last Jedi second place, Revenge of the Sith first place, A New Hope third place, Empire fourth place.
Ooh.
Will that be where it falls at the end of the day for my score? We will see.
Yeah, Last Jedi, definitely. Number 2.
We will see.
Wow.
Excuse me, I burped.
I can't wait to watch The Last Jedi and just trash on my score.
All right. Maybe we'll see.
Maybe
man.
it's solidified,
You never know.
Micah.
You never know.
But yeah.
But this time around, we've got a little bit of different scores. I like that, Micah. But we're going to shoot this to Mr. Wenslaw first. What was your score? Remind us again for episode 4.
Episode 4, Star Wars. The first Star Wars, my score was a 0 as Micah just changed it on the spreadsheet. It was a 9.5 out of 10.
Okay.
I love that movie. And going into this movie, the question isn't, do I love this movie? Because, of course, I do. This movie's great. I love The Empire. The question is, do I love this movie more than I loved last week's movie?
That's true.
And I like a lot of what Micah opened up with, because a lot of the feelings that first movie captures are not present in this movie. The world building of the first film are fantastic. The Death Star, the planet of Tatooine. I love so much of that first movie. And then when you jump into this, and it's very different. It's darker. It's not as fun. It's darker. Darth Vader is a huge presence in this movie. But I say it through and through. What I love the most about storytelling is the storytelling that's done through character work. And Empire does have better character work than A New Hope. It builds off these characters that we met, and it takes some swings that we thought were different. It takes these characters, a step further than they were. And I really love it in all those areas. And I love big underdog, little underdog versus big, huge galactic empire. And they're being chased throughout the entire film. And I love Luke's character. He's not a perfect protagonist. He is impatient. He does put his heart over what these two insanely wise wizards are telling him. It's like, no, I'm going to go. I'm going to rescue my friends because they're my friends and I love them. And he is lured right into a trap. So I like just seeing where he is. And yeah, you talked about Han and Leia, like their relationship is just so good and dynamic in this movie. And Leia in and of it herself is a great character. And just little detail. I love most scenes where they're in a close-up, she's standing on a box, makes her a foot taller because she's super short.
Yes.
So just so they can be in frame together. With Han. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yep. How tall is Harrison Ford?
Well, it's not how tall is Harrison Ford, it's how short is Carrie Fisher.
Well, he's already 6'1".
Yeah.
And then you're looking up her height.
Yeah. She is
She's
5'1",
like
so
5'1",
a whole foot.
A whole foot, yeah.
Difference.
So,
and there's still
she's still looking up, even in the posters, man.
but the poster is like,
she's like, oh.
so
beautiful
far.
poster though.
But
Yes, it is.
yeah, I really like this movie. Something I do want to do with these original three. So I always want to throw in what my least favorite special edition change is.
Whoa.
Because last week it was the whole scene with Jabba. Really still hate that scene. Don't like what it does to the trilogy dynamic as a whole and the build up to Jabba, which is the build up to Jabba is super cool in this movie, but that's kind of taken away when you've met Jabba in the last film. Don't like that. And Boba Fett's in that scene, in the Jabba scene. And I also have to say my least favorite change is Boba Fett's voice.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting.
Tamara Morrison redubs the lines for Boba, and it just doesn't he's a clone trooper. Like, that makes sense. But he doesn't capture the line delivery that Boba has in the originals. And I love the gravelly voice of, could you look up who originally voiced Boba in the original film?
Was it not Jeremy Bullock?
It might be
Jeremy Bullock.
I thought it was Jason Wingreen.
Yeah,
no.
Jason Wingreen. I love
That's
his
what it is.
voice.
Rest in peace.
It's just so good. And Boba Fett is a character. We didn't talk about him at all, but he has such a short amount of screen time, but he's solidified as such a great antagonist to our heroes and such a good bounty hunter. But sorry, I'm kind of digressing and getting out of
I like Tamara
my
Morrison.
score. I really like this movie, and I think it improves on the first one. And I hate to say that because I love the first one so much, but I did leave room last week in my score for some higher up. But how much higher am I going to go? I'm going to go 9.7 with this one.
Interesting.
9.7. I will go on record saying with our Marvel movie marathon, I jumped to 10 too quick, and I was following that ever since. So I'm trying to not chase the 10s.
Put it on the holiday special layer instead of the
Give me
Empire Strikes
9.7
Back.
for the holiday special.
Sure.
Yeah. But no, I love this movie. I think it expands the world with Yoda and the Force, and I'm done. I'm done talking.
Okay.
Go ahead, boys.
Finally.
All right.
I know. I pulled on Micah there, guys. I'm sorry.
Dang. Okay.
My
All
turn?
right.
Or your turn, Ben.
I like Tamara Morrison. That's all I've got.
Yeah, I think that the voice was similar enough for me where it wasn't that big of a jump, but I guess Ethan saw a big difference.
Well, so with the Empire specifically, there aren't too many huge changes. Like, because George Lucas barely touches this one. There are a few huge changes in Return that I'm excited to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
And me and Ben have gone back and forth on it before, so I'm ready for that. But go ahead.
All right.
Yeah, Micah.
Empire Strikes Back is an amazing film. But as I said at the beginning, I alluded to the essence of Star Wars, the feeling that you get of this magical world isn't as prevalent for me in this. And I'm not going to dock it too much for that because it makes up in so many different ways. It focuses more on the human element of the Star Wars universe while having this, I would say the Luke plot is the B plot, but Ben would disagree. Where it delves more into the weeds of, all right, there's the Jedi, there's the Force, and it's really interesting. Like, this is the cool lore heavy aspect to it, while these other characters go off on a journey to these other planets and these other places, and they talk to all these people. And whereas Luke is one person talking to Yoda, there's Ben there too, and that's it. And that's really cool too. There is merit to liking this movie. Do I think it is the greatest movie of all time? No. Do I think it's the greatest sequel of all time? Maybe. I'm not sure. I couldn't say that for certain. Is it better than A New Hope? I would say I would not rate it higher than A New Hope, simply because I didn't feel as much as I did in A New Hope. I feel that there are some greater shots. There are some the music swelling in different areas, the roughness and the way it felt like such a passion project is such a treasure to me. And I don't think it's nostalgia. There could be a little bit of nostalgia in that, but still, it's just what it is.
Yeah,
That's just how I
there's a
feel.
word we were afraid to use when we recorded last week. We said it a few times, but the magic of A New Hope. I think the magic that is in A New Hope isn't present in this movie, but there's a different kind of feeling in this movie.
Yeah, I said it at the beginning. It doesn't feel like a Star Wars movie in a sense if you just watch New Hope. One of the reasons I think, I know we're going to the weeds here, but there aren't a lot of aliens in this.
No.
Like, every character except for Yoda is a human. And that's just another thing that takes me out of it's not like, oh, this isn't Star Wars. This isn't. No, it's just like, all right, does this feel like Star Wars as much as A New Hope? And I feel like if I were rating this, what feels more like Star Wars, A New Hope's got to win. And that's why I'm going to rate it a 9.6.
Whoa.
It's not bad.
1.
It's not
Lower.
It's not that much worse than
no one's
say
fighting you under 9.6.
Yeah, I wouldn't say this is worse than A New Hope. I would just say that it's less good than A New Hope, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
Like, it's like if 0 is great, then it can be like more great, or it can be less great. And this is just less great than A New Hope, in my opinion.
Depends on the day for me.
Fully
depends on the day.
If there's another day where I'm like, oh, this movie. If I rewatch this in a month when they finish up the 4K 80 project, and it's just like, oh yeah, that hit hard. Like, that was great. And it's like a 9.8. I can see that. But if you guys remember, I gave Endgame and Infinity War and Into the Spider-Verse a 9.6. They're all fantastic movies, like some of the best in this realm of just pop culture. And I just feel like A New Hope is a movie that I would include in that top 10. I would preserve this. I would preserve A New Hope forever. Empire Strikes Back, if I had to choose between the two, I would choose A New Hope.
Right, like A New Hope is its standalone movie.
Yeah.
Regardless of it being called Episode 4 now, it has a beginning, middle, and an end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Empire Strikes Back, 9.6.
Wow.
Not bad in any means.
Gentlemen, Empire Strikes Back is better than A New Hope. I'm here to tell you right now. It's better than A New Hope.
Why?
For sure. In every way, 5.24. In every way, it expands upon it. You talk about the magic of it. I think it even expands on the magic that is A New Hope. I like how you point out that there's not a lot of aliens. Star Wars has that alien feel. But there is a specialness to this, having it. There's a lot of reason that people think this is the best one, and that I think is because of the lack of foreignness of it. I mean, you have a lot of the same characters, and all the new characters are humans, except for Yoda, who is this guy that leaves a big impression on you. That's what this movie is full of. It's full of big impressions, musically and acting wise. You have these performances, especially Yoda, and then at the end, I am your father. This is the greatest movie sequel ever made. At least it is, in my opinion.
Trump's Dark Knight.
Oh, Luke, listen.
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. Well, oh yeah, I see. Yeah, I will
Attack
get
of the Clones.
I will.
Come on.
You know what? Now I'm gonna pull back.
Iron Man 2.
This is
Spider-Man 2.
the Dark Knight.
Actually,
I could go into that, but that's a conversation for a different day.
That's when we do
Yeah.
our multiverses podcast.
Yes,
Good.
yes.
Coming soon. That's a little tease for you guys.
Eventually down the road. But yeah, no, I love The Empire Strikes Back. To me, though, there are just a few things that bring it down, but it goes to, I will give the score out now, so you can average it out, but it's going to a 9.5 for me. It doesn't show that there's a much of a difference. I love A New Hope. I really, really like Empire Strikes Back. It's a 9.5. I mean, I guess if you have to say one complaint, Luke's yell is just extremely cringy.
oh, I like it.
Come on.
I'm with you, but
That's one of
no,
my favorite parts.
Give Hamill his.
it takes me out of the scene because he is overacting.
It was
in that
good
scene.
enough
it just
to
is.
break the
He
audio.
got it from his father in 3. I mean, that's
Oh no, and I'm not a fan of that either.
Oh.
I don't know why he has this very cringy
prequel lover.
this and like I don't know.
this
That's
guy's
my
a
one.
Star Wars fan. Can you believe this?
That's my mainly one complaint. I just that's something I don't prefer. It takes me out of the magic that is these movies. But 9.5 for me. I love Empire Strikes Back.
All right, sure, whatever. All right.
The discourse has begun, folks. Oh, I'm excited for next week. Go ahead and read the score
All right,
for
we're
this.
gonna read the top 5. Number 1, Star Wars Holiday Special, coming in at a #div/0.
Nothing.
First place, Empire Strikes Back at a 9.6, guys. Wow. Ben with a 9.5, me with a 9.6, Ethan with a 9.7. This is this the highest average movie we've had?
Like ever?
No,
No,
because you've had those 10s.
Yeah, like I said,
Endgame is the one to beat it at a 9.86. So, yeah,
not to say that this isn't better than Endgame, but different spreadsheet, different rules.
I was just interested to see. So, and then Star Wars New Hope, just sort of as a reminder, we had as a 9.4 with Ben's score of 9, my score of 9.7, and Ethan's with a 9.5. So, yeah.
0.2 higher than A New Hope.
0.2
Interesting.
higher.
Okay.
And 0.6 higher than the internet score.
I'm going to make a prediction right now and say that we're not going to get this high for any other film. It's interesting because Marvel, you really didn't know.
Not
what
even
was gonna
Revenge?
happen. No, I think one person here will drag that score down. But I will say this.
Not that far down, but I don't.
Not 9.6 high.
Right, it not. Well, I haven't rewatched it in this marathon,
100%.
but I do have to say my favorite film growing up was Return of the Jedi, and that is the one we are watching next week.
That's true.
That's going to be an interesting one, man. Yeah, I can't wait for Return of the Jedi.
I think the discourse that we have will start next week because
it's fitting because this is really where it starts. You have A New Hope and you have Empire, and those are like, they're really held on a pedestal. There's not a lot of discourse between those two films.
I mean, look, 90 and a 90.
Yep. When it comes to Return of the Jedi, that's where you start to have people have some. I mean, I know I definitely have some things wrong with it. Ethan knows he's got a few things that he doesn't like about it. We're going to talk about it.
The
that's for
special
sure.
editions, the original though.
You coming over
So he
watching
has some
4K
stuff that he
83?
doesn't really like. So we're
I know some of the elements of that movie that I love about that movie, but you maybe don't like, Ben. Specifically, maybe the Ewoks.
It's going to be
Delicious
fun.
crumb.
Not to
It's gonna
spoil
be
anything,
fun.
but
It's going to be fun. That's for
What's
sure.
up,
I
Micah?
just can't wait
Delicious
to.
Crumb.
Huh?
Whatever his name is, Crumb.
Crumb.
Salacious B.
Salacious
Crumb.
B. Crumb.
Yep.
Oh, I was close on the first name, yeah.
Yeah. What did you say the first one was?
Salacious Crumb.
Yeah, Salacious.
I
Yeah.
was close.
Get it right. Come on, man. You don't know Salacious
That's
B.
a crumb.
Crumb.
That's a tease for next week, guys.
There you go. Yeah.
I just like those pig guys.
At this point, I'm just excited to just rewatch it, just to watch it again. I know. I mean,
I'm pumped.
saw it in theaters last year, but I don't know, man. It's fun going on this marathon with you guys, having more to do with a Star Wars movie.
What if next year we get a 20th re-release of Revenge?
I really hope so. I really, really hope so. But I already saw it in theaters, so I'm okay.
Nice.
Man, I'm all right. But yeah, stay tuned. Next week, we got Return of the Jedi. Watch it on your own. I know we'll be watching it this week, so be prepared for that. But for now...
We're trying to do this thing, guys. We're going to do it on the fly.
For now, this is Ben Rayside.
This is Ethan Wetzloff.
This is Micah Hett.
And remember...
The Force will be with you.
Never tell the odds.
Always! No, it didn't work! No, that's good.
Always.
That's good. Nice. No!